Last episode we found the next Raheem Sterling, who put in a fine performance on his Chelsea debut. We smashed 4 past Man City, we're back in the Champions League fight, and with the January transfer window around the corner, it's an exciting time to be a Chelsea fan. As ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, I mentioned before that Arthur Ryan had a fantastic start to life in Chelsea colours, but with him only being 17 years of age, 63 rated, and despite him having the potential to be something special, I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to displace the likes of Madueke, the 22-year-old Mudryk, or our new signing Jadon Sancho from either the left or the right-hand side of midfield. So with that in mind, I have decided to add him to the loan list. I am hoping that another club will swoop in for him, so at least to give him some first-team exposure for the second half of the season. But with West Brom coming in with a 2-year loan offer for him, it's too good of an offer for me to turn down. And who knows, if he can establish himself as a first-teamer for the Championship club in those 2 years, he may well be able to force his way back into our starting 11 on his return. However, just as he decides to depart the club, we're then hit with some really disappointing news. As Noni Madueke, the man who's really starting to show some great potential this season, having gone up to 79 rated, has gone and broken his rib in training, and it means he will now be out for the foreseeable future, for 3 months to be more precise. I'm sure Sterling will be pretty happy as it's one less man to try and compete with on the right hand side. But with the likes of Cole Palmer out on loan at Sheffield United and Hakim Ziyech also out on loan to Galatasaray, it doesn't exactly leave us with many options in this man's absence. However, with just over a month remaining until the start of the January transfer window, unfortunately we're just going to have to grin and bear it for the remainder of December. And as we head on over to Old Trafford to face off against Manchester United, I am sure they're going to be desperate to add to our woes. However, one man who I'm sure will be desperate to put in a good performance today will be that of Jadon Sancho. It's the opportunity to show the Manchester Giants that it was the wrong decision to let him go, and today is the day he gets the opportunity to prove the doubters wrong. And it is that man Sancho will pick the ball up in the centre of the park here and just weaves past one United challenge and plays it into Caicedo. And Kunku was looking for a return ball, but in the end it went to Conor Gallagher, who got his pass all wrong. Alasia to bring it out of defence for Manchester United. He's been chased down by Caicedo, but skips away from him into Donny van der Beek now, who's got the pace to drive away from Fofana and into the penalty box here. Surely he's going to look for an option. He does. This time it's Badiashile who heads it away into Conor Gallagher. It's our chance to try and hit them on the counter-attack. Sancho looked for the run of Nkunku. Couldn't find it though, gave it away cheaply, and now United have it on the right-hand side with Anthony and Wan-Bissaka. Bissaka to bring it forward into the path of Anthony. Anthony well challenged by Badiashile yet again. And yet again we have an opportunity to try and break. And it's Jadon Sancho here. I'm going to try and feed in Nkunku. I do feed in Nkunku. And Nkunku into the box here. And Nkunku puts us 1-0 up. Well, he'll get the plaudits after a sensational finish, but it's the man behind him, Jadon Sancho, who did all the hard work. A lovely bit of skill and a lovely run and pass into the path of Christopher Nkunku. And of course, when he gets that much time and space, he will make United pay just as he did. And it's 1-0 Chelsea. Anthony takes the free kick short to Correa. Nice ball into Bruno Fernandes, and Rashford manages to drive into the box here. Oh my word, brilliant goalkeeping from Diogo Costa to come out and block that one. Sunset's come deep, finds Sterling, who finds himself on the right hand side and run into trouble here. And United are pressing us high, and we are falling foul to that very press. And it's now Donny van der Beek, lovely stuff, Correa. United back on level terms. Well, we've completely switched off since we scored the goal, and United just tore us apart. Acres of space for Correa inside my penalty area, and he was able just to slip it past Diogo Costa, who could do nothing about it. United 1, Chelsea 1. Chilwell will look inside to Caicedo. Lovely return ball back into Chilwell, and he drives into the box and look for the cutback to Nkunku. What a save from Onana. My word, that has kept United on level terms here at Old Trafford. Rashford for United feeds in Donny van der Beek. He's got an overlapping run of the left back, and he finds Malacia, who manages to skip past Reece James and now cuts back inside looking for Correa, the goal scorer. Donny van der Beek. United looking dangerous here with Rashford, and it's 2-1. Well, on the stroke of half-time, they've turned this game on its head, and yet again, they just passed their way through my defence. This time, it's Marcus Rashford to apply the finish, and a brilliant finish it was, and much to my disgust, United lead. Reece James into Sancho, into Nkunku. Nkunku tries to go out wide to the right-hand side to Sanson, who's been pretty quiet so far, but he's going to try and go to the back post to Sancho, and Sancho, he's offside. Well, he went to the back post. It was a brilliant cross. And my word, look at how close he was. He was just offside by a matter of inches. Well, into Caicedo. I'm going to try and feed this way all the way across to the right-hand side to Reece James. Lovely pass. Now Sterling, who's come in field. He finds Nkunku, and Nkunku's going to try and play this into Sunset. Brilliant defending by the United centre-back. Varane being chased down by Nkunku. Oh, he's got the calmness and the composure to get away from 3 Chelsea players. That is magnificent defending. Into Rashford. Rashford holds up Conor Gallagher and eventually releases the ball down to Wan-Bissaka, who just knocks it past Ben Chilwell. He's got the beating of him for pace. Cuts back to Anthony. Nice play for United here. They're just carving us apart. Now it's Rashford again on the edge of the box. Well done. Well intercepted and blocked by Conor Gallagher. And now he can try and hit them on the counter-attack. Sunset. I was trying to release Nkunku. It was so poor. And that's been the story of our game as Anthony is being chased down by Fofana. Great defending. We needed that block. And he put the block in. Sancho into Nkunku. Nkunku, I was trying to release Ben Chilwell. And eventually I do manage to get it to Ben Chilwell. And he will now try and drive down the left-hand side. Tries to go past Varane. Does go past Varane. Into the box. Cuts it back in. Looking for Nkunku. I was smashed against the defender. And somehow we didn't manage to find the back of the net. Bruno Fernandes. Less than 10 minutes on the clock here. And this game is starting to get stretched. As Anthony looks to stretch the play down the left-hand side. Ben Chilwell's absolutely knackered. So is Fofana. Correa. It's 3-1. Well, in our desperation to bring men forward, we leave ourselves open at the back. And it was brilliant play from Anthony down that right-hand side. And a wonderful finish from Correa. Beat 2 challenges and then smashed it into the bottom left-hand corner, giving the goalkeeper no chance. And surely now, United have sealed 3 points. 3-1. And it's that man Correa again who skips past the challenge this time with Badiashile into the box, into the path of Bruno Fernandes. And they've completely ripped us apart. Well, our heads have dropped. And my word, United have got their tails up. And they have absolutely torn us to shreds. In the penalty area again, this time it was Bruno Fernandes and an absolute smasher of a strike. And from that distance, the keeper had no chance. Frustratingly, it's 4-1. Malo Gusto trying to sweep past the United defence, and he finds Christopher Nkunku into the box, and Nkunku, it's 4-2. While in stoppage time, Christopher Nkunku pops up again with his second goal and our second goal. But frustratingly for us, it's too little, too late. Nice play from Gusto down the right-hand side, and of course Christopher Nkunku, when he's in a dangerous area, he is a very dangerous man. It's a brilliant finish, but nothing less than I would have expected from the Frenchman. And whilst he's delighted, unfortunately, it's only going to be a consolation for us. As after a positive start, it will be Manchester United who will seal the victory and seal the 3 points here. Really disappointing display, as at full time here at Old Trafford it finishes United 4, Chelsea 2. Now, one serious positive we can take from that game was another 2 goals from Christopher Nkunku. It's now 13 in all competitions in 15 Premier League games and an overall rating in the Premier League of 7.81, and he is by far and away the standout player for us this season. However, with the loss of Noni Madueke on the right hand side, with him and Sunset both tied as our second and third highest goal scorers and assist makers, and just the real lack of depth and options on the bench in his absence shows that this team still has a lot of work to do if we want to achieve our goals this season. And while somehow we still sit in 4th place in the Premier League, just 5 points off league leader Spurs, it is those big games against the likes of Spurs and Manchester United where we just seem to be falling short. But with only a handful of games remaining until the start of the January transfer window and just £39 million to spend, it's time to see if we can get ourselves back on track with an away game at Goodison Park against Everton. Unfortunately enough, even with a heavily rotated squad, we do manage to get back to winning ways, courtesy of an early goal from Nicholas Jackson, which secures a 1-0 win for us. And while Sterling will be frustrated in the next game against Sheffield United that he was unable to secure a hat-trick having missed a penalty in the 84th minute, his 2 goals, plus an early goal from Sunset, was enough to secure another 3 points for us as we beat them 3-0 at home. And so much to my surprise, despite me being concerned about the likes of Enzo Fernandez and Noni Madueke both being out for the long term, those back-to-back wins have kept us in 4th place, but they have managed to establish a 6-point lead ahead of 5th place Manchester United, and now clawed us to within 2 points of Liverpool, who top the table. Perhaps this team has slightly more strength in depth than I'm giving it credit for. And as we've been drawn against Brentford in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup, that strength in depth is just about to be tested. Numerous changes to my starting 11, despite the likes of Costa and Reece James keeping their places in defence. Disasi, Levi Colwell and Maatsen also start. Hugo Chukwu partners Lavia in the centre of the park, with the likes of Sterling, Broja and Mudryk starting behind Nicholas Jackson up front. Wissa down the left-hand side manages to get the better of Reece James, but this time it's Disasi who comes across. Brilliant defending from the young man, and he releases Sterling on the right-hand side. He's got an overlapping run of Reece James, and he finds that overlapping run. And look at the pace of Reece James now. He's got green grass to run into here. He's fighting against the left-back. Instead, he manages to cut it back into the path of Raheem Sterling. He He finds Brozier. Brozier into Hugo Chukwu, who strikes. Blazes it over the bar. Reece James into Jackson. Jackson into Sterling. Sterling's managed to remain on side here. And he's going to try and cut this back into Jackson again. Lovely save from the goalkeeper. Mbuemo for Brentford. He drives down the right-hand side here, being chased down by Levi Colwell. And this time it's Disasi who comes across to cover again. Great defending once again from Chelsea. Whisper for Brentford. A lovely pass into the path of the left-back Marasuc. And he now going to be Marusic with the throw for Brentford. Looks like he's going to throw this one long. He does throw it long. It's headed away by Disasi, who's been a rock at the back for us so far in this game. Brozier's come deep. He's a man who hasn't really featured too much for us this season. He fires a wonderful pass into Mudryk. Nicholas Jackson. He releases Maatsen. Maatsen releases Mudryk, who's managed to stay on side. No, he hasn't. Into Mudryk. Mudryk into Brozier. Twisting, turning away from the Brentford defence. Runs into trouble though, and they can try and now hit us on the counter-attack, but they get it all wrong, and Levi Colwell can try and bring this one out of defence. Finds Mudryk. He turns, tried to find the overlapping run of Maatsen, couldn't find him, and now Brentford can go again. End-to-end stuff here at the Community Stadium, and it's thrown back in here into the path of De Silva. He's got options in the box. Can he find any? No, this time it's Reece James with a wonderful challenge. Well, it's 0-0 here as we start the second half. I'm sure both teams will be eager to try and break the deadlock here, as neither team will want to go to penalties. The lottery of penalties, and we've got to hope that we are the lucky team that are able to do that. Brozier to bring it forward into Mudryk. Nice Sterling stuff here into Nicholas Jackson. He takes it on. It's come out and it's well saved by the goalkeeper, but Sterling is there with his left foot to power it into the bottom right hand corner, and he celebrates wildly as he gives us that precious 1-0 lead. Well, it was brilliant play in the opening 5 minutes, and I thought the chance was gone, but Sterling was the quickest to react, and on his weaker foot found the corner brilliantly, gave the keeper no chance to react and try and get back into position. It was a wonderful finish in a wonderful way to get us in the lead here. Out to Reece James. Reece James is surely going to try and find an option in the box here, but doesn't really have too many that he can fire it into. Instead finds Brozier, who shifts it onto his right. It's blocked. Well blocked by the defence. Fired over the top into the path of Mbuemo. And he's got the beating of Maatsen here, but Maatsen with a brilliant piece of defending to get the ball clear into the path of Mudryk. Now we can try and hit Brentford on the counter-attack. Sterling looks for Nicholas Jackson, finds Nicholas Jackson. He releases Reece James here, and Reece James has got space and pace to run into. It's back in the box for Sterling. Oh my word, I thought it was going to be a wonderful end to a wonderful counter-attack. Sterling will take the resulting corner though, fires it in, looking for the head of Reece James. Headed away well, only out as far as Levi Colwell. Disasi to line up a shot, blocked. It will be another corner, and it's a corner that Raheem Sterling is of course going to step up and take once again. Fired into the box again, looking for Reece James just over his head. Cleared away by the Brentford defence. And it's De Silva now to try and bring this one away. Has he got the pace to burst away from Levi Colwell? He does. And he continues down the left-hand side, but he looks absolutely shattered. And it's brilliant recovery defending from the young Englishman. And now, look at him drive forward into the path of Nicholas Jackson. Both teams looking to try and get a goal here. He's taken out from behind. It's a horrendous challenge, and the referee only issues a yellow card. He can count himself a lucky man. Well, let's have a look at the replay. Made no attempt to get the ball. Took him out from behind. How on earth has he escaped a red card? Levi Colwell again to bring this one out of defence. Nicholas Jackson, lovely stuff into Sterling. Across into Mudryk. And Mudryk puts the icing on the cake here for Chelsea. A wonderful piece of play and a wonderful goal by the Ukrainian. He will be desperate to get on the score sheet, and he will be absolutely delighted. Look at the celebrations. We will be sailing through to the next round of the Carabao Cup, and our chances of silverware this season continue to march on. Look at the build-up. Lovely one-touch play from Nicholas Jackson into Sterling, into Mudryk, and he couldn't miss from that angle. Fabulous stuff. It's 2-0 here at the GTEC Stadium. Lavia feeds in Nicholas Jackson, and Nicholas Jackson's still running. He's still running the channels here, and he finds Lavia again, the central defensive midfielder. I'm going to try and fire this into the back post. Doesn't manage to reach the back post. It was well defended in the end by the Brentford defenders, as they just about managed to get it away as the referee blows for full time. Well, that is a result I will be absolutely delighted with. A huge weight off my shoulders as we sail through to the next round of a cup competition. And it's a cup competition that surely we are now going to be heavy favourites to win. Full time here in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Brentford 0, Chelsea 2. And you can see the smile on my face as I'm greeted by the reporters. I thought we absolutely controlled the game. For me, it was one of our best performances. And the belief in the dressing room at the moment is absolutely fabulous. And I'm confident now more than ever we can go one step further and win the whole thing. And whilst I've spoken about the disappointment of losing this man to a long-term long-term injury. There will be no one more delighted in the Chelsea squad than this man, Mudryk, finally getting on the score sheet, and I'm sure he will be absolutely desperate to step up and prove his worth in Madueke's absence. And with us managing to avoid the likes of Newcastle and Manchester City in the semi-final, we will play Wolves in a game that I am pretty confident we should be able to get through. However, with only a handful of games remaining until the start of the January transfer window, it's time to return our focus back to the Premier League, and we do so with perhaps a slight preview of that Carabao Cup semi-final, but this time we are left frustrated as a late goal from Hee-chan means that we only are able to secure a point as we draw 1-1. We bounce back though with a fabulous performance against Crystal Palace, securing a 4-1 battering of them at Stamford Bridge. And we round off 2023 with another 4-1 battering, this time away from home against Luton Town. And after being able to extend our unbeaten run, those results have unbelievably lifted us up to first place in the Premier League table at the very end of 2023. My word, what a way to end a rollercoaster of a year. And as you can see from that goals against column, it is a position that is built on defensive solidity, which makes it no surprise to see that our new goalkeeping signing, Diogo Costa, has absolutely hit the ground running. 9 clean sheets in 20 games, and he is the clean sheet leader so far in the Premier League. And with both he and Oyan Sanset proving to be a pair of hits in the transfer market this season, with that man Oyan Sanset securing 6 goals and 5 assists to be our second highest goal scorer and our top assist maker so far this season. It seems like our recruitment this summer was absolutely sensational. Speaking of recruitment though, the January transfer window is now officially open. And whilst initially I was thinking about potentially bringing in a replacement for this man, Noni Madueke, on the right hand side, with him only now having 2 months remaining on his injury, and with the likes of Mudryk starting to step up in reserve, I'm not quite sure whether or not I need to bring in another winger to the club. However, speaking of injuries, with Enzo Fernandez still being out for the next 6 weeks with an ACL, and his rating dropping by 1 point to 82, it's highly unlikely that he's going to come back fighting fit in the foreseeable future. And looking at my starting 11, perhaps it could be argued that central midfield is the weakest part of my team, in particular Conor Gallagher being the only man in the starting 11 who isn't at least an 80 rated. And with only the likes of Hugo Chukwu and Romeo Lavia on the bench, both who are 74 and 75 rated respectively, it doesn't exactly look like a position that we're particularly blessed with outstanding players. However, with only £39 million to spend, it is highly unlikely that I'm going to be able to go and bring in a world-class central midfielder this window. So instead, with all the injuries and fatigue we've had this season, I think I'm going to turn my attention to an affordable man who can offer us a great deal of versatility across our team. And that just so happens to be a man who has racked up over 120 appearances in the Bundesliga, over 30 appearances for his national team, and someone who can play both in central midfield, central attacking midfield, and even up front. It's another young player who I'm sure will be desperate to ply his trade in the Premier League as we welcome the Austrian Christoph Baumgartner to Chelsea Football Club for £30 million. It's a signing that's pretty much wiped out the remainder of our transfer budget, but it's one that I'm incredibly excited about. With him only being 24 years of age and already 80 rated, he has that something special and he has the potential to grow and develop into an absolute superstar. We've slightly struggled only having Oyan Sanset as the singular man who can play in the central attacking midfield position, so it is a role that this man should be able to fill when he needs to. However, with me wanting to see him play more in the centre of midfield instead, I'm going to change his development plan to be focused on a central midfielder, as he will come straight into the starting 11 to replace Conor Gallagher at the heart of my midfield. And he is about to be thrown straight into the deep end as we prepare for a first leg tie at Stamford Bridge against Wolves in the Carabao Cup semi-final. It's a game that I am pumped for, and it's a game that I'm keen to rally the troops in front of the media for. We're going into the game with the right attitude, and I'm confident we've got the players to get the right result today. And it's a confidence that seems to be flooding through the fans as well as they enter Stamford Bridge in high hopes that we can finally achieve domestic glory this season and win our first trophy of our new career mode. And it is Baumgartner with his first touch in a Chelsea shirt, and with his first touch he lays a wonderful ball into the path of Sterling, who skips around the challenge of 2 Wolves defenders and continues his run down the right hand side. He hasn't really got many options, so instead has to cut back in and ends up giving the ball away really cheaply. Sanchez for Wolves being chased down by Sanset, but goes down the left hand side to Berenger into Cunha, and Cunha now drives past Reece James. Nice stuff down this left hand side. He's looking for options but can't seem to find any either, and Reece James is able to come across and put in a fabulous challenge. Sterling now picks it up, plays it into Sanset. Sanset is going to surely try and release Nkunku over the top. Tries to find Nkunku. He's tussling with the defender, but the defender wins out in the end. Kind of for Fulham. Nice reverse pass into Gomez. Out wide to Berenger on the left-hand side. This is really well worked by Wolves, and it's well shot. Diogo Costa with the save, but he gets the follow-up and another save. It's going to be a corner that Sarabia is going to take. He's going to throw it into the box, looking for the head of Berenger. Another big save from the goalkeeper. Sarabia with his second corner for Wolves. They've started off this opening 15-20 minutes on fire here. Out of the two teams, they seem like they're more likely to score as they still play it around on the edge of our box. Nice stuff into Bellegarde. This time it's Sancho coming back to defend. Well done, and Baumgartner with a lovely piece of play to beat the Wolves press. And can he try and release the ball? I was looking for the overlapping run of Reece James. Couldn't find it. Wolves go again. Gomez into the path to Berenger. Yet again he drives into the box. This time it's Caicedo with a horrendous challenge. And surely the referee has no choice but to give a penalty. Caicedo can't believe it, but he can have absolutely no arguments. He completely missed the ball, took the player out, and much to my frustration, Wolves have a way to take the lead. And it's going to be Cunha who's going to step up to take here. I'm going to dive to the bottom left-hand corner, and Diogo Costa saves. Fofana comes across, hacks it clear, and we remain on level terms at Stamford Bridge. Berenger with the throw, throws it long into the box. Cunha has it. Wolves are desperate now to try and get into the lead even more, but Baumgartner on his debut with a fabulous challenge, and he can try and release the ball into the path of Sanset, but instead he goes himself, and he just keeps going. He's like a battering ram trying to get through. Made the wrong decision in the end not to pass it earlier, and Wolves continue to bring the ball forward. It's Cunha. He goes back to Doyle. Doyle back into Cunha. Cunha reverse pass into Caicedo, and Caicedo challenged well, but the Wolves press. They're just relentless here. We can't seem to get out of our own half. Reece James into Sanset. Sanset tried to play it to Sterling. It was a poor first time pass, and Wolves go again. Out to Berenger on the left-hand side, knocks it past Reece James like he's not even there and drives into the box again. He's been a danger man. Cunha, what a strike and what a save. Well, how on earth are we still at 0-0 here? Wolves, surely they could be 2 or 3 up right now. I cannot believe they will be absolutely devastated if they do not try and at least take the lead before half-time. And now they go back to Sarabia. Sarabia's blocked off, but not that far. They keep it alive. Chilwell gets all mixed up and eventually just about manages to get it clear. And now I'm going to try and just hit the accelerate button, and he just tries too hard, and in the end just knocks it out of play. Doherty into Sarabia. Sarabia surely is going to try and go down this left-hand side past Badiashile. He can't go past Badiashile though. That man has been an absolute rock at the back since coming in and starting for us. It's been a fabulous season for the Frenchman. Baumgartner into Caicedo. Caicedo into Sancho. Sancho's going to look for the overlapping run of Chilwell. Does find Chilwell. Chilwell goes back in for Nkunku. Nkunku tried to find Sanset. Couldn't. Can Caicedo get there? No, he can't. Wolves can go again. They're starting off this second half just as they finished the first. Gomez into Doyle. Goes out wide to the left-hand side to Berenger. He's got the pace to try and go past Reece James. Well defended from the Chelsea man. Wolves have it again though. They're pressing high. We can't get out of our own half here. Cunha strikes from distance. It's easy for Diogo Costa this time though. Reece James into Sterling. Sterling twisting, turning, not twisting enough though. Wolves go again, and Badiashile like a rock is there in the right place at the right time. Jadon Sancho into Nkunku. It's so congested in the heart of the midfield here as Wolves again manage to get the ball off of us. We just cannot seem to string enough decent passes together as Sanchez now down the left-hand side being chased down by Fofana, and Fofana with a great challenge to win the ball back. Defensively, we've been fantastic, but going forward, we haven't. But just as I say that, we go and give the ball away in a really dangerous position. Cunha tries to find a ball into Bellegarde, and surely this time Costa with another huge save. Well, we're going to make 2 changes here, and one of them's going to be Conor Gallagher coming on. Baumgartner still trying to adjust to the pace of English football. He's absolutely knackered, and he goes off on the 65th minute mark. And it's going to be Sarabia who's going to take this corner for Wolves, fires it into the near post, headed away by Chilwell. Only out as far as Sarabia again, though, who has the opportunity to fire it back into the box. It's now Lamina into Berenger. Lovely stuff over the bar from Bellegarde. Chilwell into Mudryk, who's also come on as a sub. He feeds in Nkunku, and Nkunku manages to win it and gives it back to Mudryk. Mudryk now to try and drive into the penalty area. He's being held up by the Wolves defence, and he isn't able to get in there. Wolves going forward and defensively have been fantastic today. Cunha. Lovely pass into Berenger. Wolves have got about 4 on 3 here. We are completely overloaded, but it's great defending from Reece James. He plays it into Nkunku. A reverse pass round the corner into Sterling. And now look, Sterling has the time and space to run into the box here. Sterling to strike. Oh, he put it wide. Nkunku again. The table's beginning to turn here as we finally start to get momentum swinging back in our direction. Conor Gallagher, though, can't play a ball out wide to Reece James. And just as I say, we're getting momentum back. Wolves now try and hit us on the counter-attack. Cunha's got the better of Fofana, but he doesn't have any options, but he does have the pace to get away from the young Frenchman. Instead, he just holds up the ball and now tries to drive into the penalty area. Reece James, has he given away a penalty? No, it will just be a corner. And it's a corner that Kalisic is going to take. He's going to try an in-swinger with his right foot. He does try an in-swinger. It's headed away by Mudryk, only out as far as Hwang. Hwang, though, is beaten to it by Conor Gallagher, who heads it clear. Lamina into Hwang again. Wolves still in the ascendancy, but they give it away. Mudryk, though, was taken out. The referee plays advantage, and now Sunset surely will try and release Nkunku. Has he managed to stay onside? No, he hasn't. And that, unfortunately, was the last chance of the game. An end-to-end game that both teams looked like they were going to score. It could have been 5-5 at the end of that one, but neither team somehow was able to find the back of the net, much to the disbelief of some of my players. As at full time here, it finishes Chelsea 0, Wolves 0. And with the first leg being played at Stamford Bridge, Wolves, I'm sure, will be the happier of the two teams to take it back to the Molineux and give themselves a real fighter's chance of getting through to the final. It was an interesting start for the 24-year-old Christoph Baumgartner, only a 6.4 rating and only managed to last 65 minutes. He was absolutely shattered by the end of the game, but if he wants to be a success at the club, he's going to have to quickly get used to the rigours of English football. However, with plenty more games to come as we head into the second half of this career mode first season, that is where we are going to end today's episode. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.